This is NTV.
Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Business Redefined, where tonight we are going to talk matters management, and we are joined on the set by the Executive Director of the Kenya Institute of Management, Muriithi Ndegwa. Muriithi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you too.
Tell us what the impact of COVID-19 has been on the science of management.
I think this is a challenge that every one of us is facing, not just in the education sector, but in all aspects of life. And we have seen many institutions, not just in the education sector, but even companies actually retrenching, resizing, and reducing their workforce. We are even told there are some companies that actually have folded. When I come specifically into our sector, we know very well that when COVID set into the country, way back in March last year, the government issued a notice for all institutions to close, and we actually did close from effective the month of March all the way right until sometime in September. Now, to have closed for such a long period, certainly it meant that there was no face-to-face learning that was previously the case. And so what did institutions do? Many of them ventured into maybe a system of having online learning, but like the students would often say, they don't just go to school to learn. They go also to socialize. So there's a number of students who felt that they would have the wait-and-see attitude, so that they didn't quite engage into online learning, although in our case, we actually got a number of them onto online learning platforms, but we saw a number of them waiting until the face-to-face learning would begin. And as a result of that, institutions of higher learning, including ourselves, were quite significantly affected to the point whereby I'm told some of them actually closed shop.
One of the issues that is now a big issue around the world is the issue of mental health. How do you think managers ought to address this global challenge?
I think the first and foremost thing is that we need to accept the reality that it is actually happening. I think having done that, in my view, the next thing is institute mitigation measures that can help us in terms of coping with the situation. And how do you address it? In my view, the first and foremost thing that you need to do is firstly also seek the treatment or help the patients so that they also realize that they are actually in that situation. Because sometimes one can have a mental problem, but they do not know it. But as an organization, you as a manager, or you as a leader, even though you need to accept and admit that it is there, in terms of coming up with mitigation measures, I think it's also very important for one to be also emotionally okay, in the sense that you have emotional intelligence. These days we talk about emotional quotient, and we talk about you as a leader being able to understand the people you're working with, show compassion, show kindness, be sympathetic, empathize with them, while at the same time leading them into what you would expect the situation to be in terms of the mitigation measure.
Do you think that there is going to be maybe some change in syllabus or some change in the management science in as far as taking care of the mental health aspect of managers is concerned? Are we likely to see that in the coming few years?
You know, management is very dynamic. And if you look at the courses that we've learned in management, if you look at the olden days, there was talk about management by objectives, MBO, which was really the buzzword then. And as time progresses, we have seen the change in management theory and practice. And therefore, since we are operating in an environment that has a very diverse and a very tough competitive advantage, clearly, management theorists are coming up with new theories and ways of practicing so that they can mitigate against the challenges of the day. Having said that, my view is that in view of this now becoming a major and global problem, certainly it will call upon management theorists to come up with maybe new and more adept ways of tackling and handling the problem at the workplace.
We live in a technological world right now. How has technology impacted the space of management science?
Greatly, in my view. And if you ask me, there are certain things that have happened in the last couple of years that have really changed the whole aspect of management in terms of the practice and in terms of the theory. One, we talk about AI, artificial intelligence. Now, when you delve into aspects of artificial intelligence, you start seeing things happening that in the past people never envisaged that they would ever happen. What do I have in mind? For example, not too long ago, we started hearing about robotics being used in the space of management. For example, in medicine, we're hearing cases of telemedicine. And I have particular examples where we have seen robotics or AI being used specifically to deliver, say, like medicine. And I think I read a case in Rwanda where they're delivering medicine to places that are so remote that would not ordinarily have been reached by a normal person, or it would have been difficult to reach such a place. We also hear of cases where in boardrooms you are seeing a robot. And I read a case in Japan where there's actually a robot that sits in the boardroom. Now, you imagine yourself, you're in a boardroom, you're supposed to be making decisions about the organization, about the company, and seated right next to you is a robot. So you have to start thinking and changing your perspective in terms of accepting all these technological changes that are coming in. There's also the big data analytics, where as we continue advancing, it becomes now easy, maybe at the touch of a button, for you to collect, synthesize, and analyze data, or big data to be precise. And that therefore means that as a manager, you have the tool and the gadget to be able to make decisions very quickly, very fast, and efficient decisions based on the big data analytics.
From your experience, Muriithi, are there some people who are innately born with the skills to manage and lead?
That's a very interesting question, and I've heard it, I think, a couple of times. There are those who believe that managers are made or managers are born. But for me, the view I take is that every one of us was born with the inherent capability to lead and to manage. However, for you to become a better leader and a better manager, you need to learn, relearn, acquire the right skills, reskill, and retool, because that's the only way you can continue improving. Nobody was born with the inherent knowledge of everything. You continue building on your knowledge, because as they say, knowledge begins at birth and ends at death.
One of the challenges that I've heard about Kenya as an economy is that the issue of productivity is key, and that we have relatively low productivity when compared to some other countries. How do you think this challenge can be addressed? How can we increase the productivity of our population?
I've had the advantage and the experience of working with the Japanese in my earlier years. And it was in a manufacturing concern. And one of the things I noted with their way of doing things is what they talked about Kaizen, continuous improvement, continuous improvement. And I recall, because I used to go often to the factory, although I was not working in the factory, I was in marketing. But I recall that they infused a kind of mentality in us as workers that this is your organization and this is your company. So much so that when it came to the operators in the factory, the machine was their machine. And the space around the machine was their machine. There's a word they use, I don't know if it's a gembutsu, gemba, or something like that. But the fact is, they infused that aspect of you have to have it in your heart that this is your organization, this is your company. And the success of this organization or this company is intertwined with your success. Now, for me, therefore, the first and foremost thing is we need to understand where we are coming from. Because they say, if you don't learn from history, then you'll never learn and you'll never improve. So you need to first and foremost, we need to look at where we are coming from. Then there are some ethos that we need to embrace. And these ethos have been proven to work in other countries, in other markets. For example, that aspect of owning and feeling that your success, your life is intertwined with the organization, I think it's something that perhaps we need to embrace. Now, I know very well that Kenyans are very hardworking. And give a Kenyan an opportunity, they will delve into it without a doubt. But I think we can improve a little bit by improving our work ethos so that we don't feel like the job you're doing is basically for you to earn a daily bread or a daily living. It is a job that you're doing for yourself, for your children, and for the future and for the posterity of the organization and yourself. I think there are some aspects also that we can improve on by learning and reskilling and retooling. There is no one country that is in isolation in itself. If you look at, for example, some of the global economies that are really coming up as emerging global giants, the Singapores of today, the Malaysia, the South Korea, and so on and so forth. Many of them were where we are today a couple of years ago. In fact, we are told that at independence, we were at the same level. And I've had the opportunity to go to Singapore and to Malaysia. In fact, we have an MOU for training with the Singapore Institute of Management. So I've gone through I've been taken through their continuum in terms of how they have moved from where they were, from third world to first world. And I see a great opportunity for us to learn by reskilling, retooling, and relearning. And this is not at the individual level alone. It is also at the organizational level and also at the country level. Oftentimes people say that you'll find a lot of beautiful strategic documents in the shelves gathering dust. But how about our implementation? How efficient, how effective are we in terms of implementing some of these strategies, some of these beautiful proposals that we've come up with? In fact, it is often said that there are some proposals or some strategies that we have come up with, but they have ended up being implemented in other domains in other countries and so on. We need to have some ethos in regard to what's in it for me. So the issue to do with corruption, unfortunately, is playing a major role in terms of our productivity. And obviously, we become less cost competitive because of that aspect of the loaded cost, which is corruption. If you don't have a vision, they say every other way will lead you home. That therefore means that if it's a question of embracing a vision, we need to have the rallying call for every one of us rallying towards achievement of that vision, that aspirational goal, which is for the good of us and the good of our future and the good of the country.
You're watching Business Redefined. Right now, we take a short break. We'll be right back.
Are you on Nyota? Pata channel sita zaidi when you pay for more than 1 month on Nyota Bouquet. Enjoy more entertainment on Nyota.
Sunlight 2-in-1. It gives you a sensational clean and an uplifting fragrance. Sunlight 2-in-1. Safari anza ya kutunganisha kama Wakenya. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Let's go beyond. Mimi na wewe tukibuni kazi nzuri ya kujivunia. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Kwa juhudi na tumaini, twaelekea kesho pamoja. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Safaricom.
Babe, I'm at KFC. Do you want anything?
I'm actually not that hungry, babe.
I'm actually not that hungry, babe. Coming right up.
Try the new KFC Duo Bucket. 4 delicious pieces of KFC chicken, 4 zinger wings, and chips. The perfect sharing meal for 2.
Kingdom Bank, a subsidiary of the Cooperative Bank of Kenya, welcomes you and your business to all our 17 branches in key towns across Kenya. Come open your business account today and get immediate access to mobile banking, debit card services, and more. In addition, you can earn earn a good interest on your deposit. Let's do business together. We too are you.
Hey, now that's hitting the right notes. When life gets boring, we bring out our play. You see, playfulness is in our DNA. It's in the way we move and laugh. It's in the way we walk, the way we rock, and how we just don't stop. You feel me? We add color to everything, to every day and every dish, because the world needs our crazy. We're the different flavors that make life more exciting. We're the ones who add color to every moment. Fanta, color every moment.
I wish I could have soft and glowing skin.
New Geisha Black Soap with activated charcoal to give you soft and glowing skin. New Geisha Black Soap and New Geisha Moringa.
Pata upgrade digital na simu ya kisasa. Mwelekeo ni internet na mali mpya. Neon Ray 2. Ipate kwa Safaricom shops, dealers ama masoko.com.
Welcome back. You're watching Business Redefined, and this week we are talking matters management with Muriithi Ndegwa, the Executive Director at the Kenya Institute of Management. Muriithi, tell us what the Company of the Year Awards is all about.
Thank you very much, Alex. The Kenya Institute of Management, KIM Company of the Year Awards, or what we know as COYA, also incorporates the SME of the Year Award, SMOYA, and also CEO of the Year Award and Manager of the Year Award. And this is a business recognition award, which is meant to celebrate organizations that have embraced good business practices. The awards seek to promote, encourage best practices in 7 key determinant areas, one of them being leadership and management. There's also human resources, customer orientation and marketing, financial management, innovation, ICT and knowledge management, corporate citizenship and environmental focus, and last but not least, productivity and quality. Now, the essence of having these awards is that we want to recognize the Kenyan companies that have done really well amidst the challenges that we face locally and even internationally. We also have partnered with a company called Profiles International, TMS Limited, which is also helping us in the aspect of coming up with tools to promote and encourage excellence in leadership amongst the industry captains, that means CEOs and managers, through the CEO of the Year Award and, as we call it, SEA, and the Manager of the Year Award, or MOYA.
What is the experience for companies that have already won the COYA in as far as maybe expansion or brand visibility is concerned? What does it add to their portfolio?
Let me say, in terms of Business Excellence Awards, John Maxwell put it very well, and I want to quote what he said. He said, and I quote, "Leaders need to touch the heart before they ask for a hand," end of quote. Now that's a very pertinent aspect in terms of what you as a leader or you as a manager, you are expected to do. That therefore means that to achieve this, a leader must have emotional intelligence to successfully maneuver through the people issues and develop great teams while focusing on organizational goals. But to answer the question specifically in terms of what the Business Excellence Tool or the COYA has done, research actually indicates that over 60% of organizations have witnessed improvements in areas of productivity, employee satisfaction, market share, and low attrition when basically you adopt some of these tools. And the beauty about the Company of the Year Awards is that when we do the research, we will also give you the report which tells you where you are and how you rank against these 7 determinants and against global best practice, which therefore means that you get to know your areas of strengths and your areas of opportunities to improve. We don't call them weaknesses, we call them the areas of opportunities to improve. And as a result of that, we've seen companies which have come in to say that as a result of participating in COYA, I have been able to raise my productivity, and we actually have industry recognition in some companies where they have even given specific testimonials where they say that they have seen a reduction in cost base or an improvement in their bottom line, some talking about 20% or even more than 20%.
Tell us more about the CEO of the Year Awards and the Manager of the Year Awards.
Now, the CEO of the Year Award basically looks at leadership and management skills, and what normally happens is that we will send a questionnaire to the CEO or to the organization. Then the person then marks themselves or records themselves on the basis of, again, 8 pillars. Now, when they rank themselves, we'll then ask their reportees, in other words, those who report to them, or their superiors, to again also validate by giving us their perspective. And then the results are then taken to a pool of assessors, professional assessors, who will then look at the results, review, validate, and then on the basis of that, they come back and give the organization, whether it's a CEO or whether it's a manager, the results so that they're able to know that as far as this key determinant is concerned or this pillar is concerned, this is how I rank, and this is the area that I have a strength in, and this is the area I have an opportunity to improve on, so that we talk about continuous improvement.
Muriithi, you have headed a state agency before, and now you are the Chief Executive here at the Kenya Institute of Management. How important is it for managers to open up themselves to scrutiny in order for a company's performance to improve?
Oh, wow. I think it's very important in my view, because nobody can be able to evaluate themselves. In fact, there's a popular saying that says you cannot shave yourself, and more so the back of your head. So if you don't open yourself to scrutiny, then you will never know where your strengths are, or where your weaknesses are, or where your opportunities to improve are. So I believe, and I would say, that having worked in a diverse field, whether it's in manufacturing, or whether it's in the state corporations, or whether it's now in the service sector, I think it is important for you to benchmark yourself against others. Reason being, when you participate in Olympics, why do we do so? You want to gauge yourself against the best in the world, isn't it? Now, if you are an expert in a certain race or in a certain field, and you remain a village expert, a county expert, a national expert, you will never know how you rank against the best in the world. And I think that's why it's important to open yourself to scrutiny and to open yourself to competition, so that you know where you can improve on, because the retooling, the reskilling is something that is continuous, and it starts at birth and ends at death, and therefore it's important that we embrace that.
What does KIM hope to achieve by hosting the COYA Awards?
KIM basically is an organization that is in the space of leadership and management, and we've been in existence since 1954. So 20 years ago is when we started this aspect of Company of the Year Awards. And this edition that we are going to be having in the next couple of months is going to be the 21st edition of the Company of the Year Award. The overall objective of COYA is to help participating organizations achieve global competitiveness, as well as establish world-class institutions that can withstand the test of time based on global standards and benchmarks that have already been predetermined. And this is in line with our mission of steering and championing excellence, integrity, competitiveness in individuals and also in organizations.
How do you identify a credible COYA winner?
It's a very thorough process that we go through. We have a pool of experts that have been in this business for quite some time. Now, the question is, the assessment we say is fairly simple. So after the organization has registered, it selects staff from different functions who become champions of business excellence, and they undergo training by KIM on how to conduct the self-assessment using the OPI tool. OPI is Organizational Performance Index, which is basically the tool that we use for evaluation of the organization in terms of Company of the Year Award. The champions are then given self-assessment tools to guide themselves in the assessment process, and they submit it to KIM within a period of about 3 weeks for desktop analysis by our certified pool of assessors. After that, the assessment team then sets aside a day with the participating organization for an external assessment to verify the champions' internal report. Then after submission from the champions and assessors are analyzed for further benchmarking of the processes against the industry standards, this then is moderated and validated, and the scores are established, which give the level of performance based on the existence of the processes, implementation, and key, the results. And this therefore then gives the whole aspect of who is the winner in whatever category it is. So we have winners in each and every of the categories, and then the overall winner for the Company of the Year award.
Tell us about the relationship that Kim maintains with COYA award winners and those who have participated in the competition.
Now, it's very important for COYA not to be seen as a gala event where you go to the stage, receive the award, you get the ululations, and that's it. For us, we believe that what is even more important is a continuous follow-through that is usually done after the event. And there are reports that are compiled by the team of assessors, and these reports are then availed to the company. When they are availed to the company will see, or the organization will see exactly where their strengths are. They'll also see where their opportunities to improve are. And oftentimes, some of the companies even engage further with us, or we engage with them so that we can train them on the specific areas where they can raise their standards. I know of one particular company, or a couple of companies, where when they started, the CEO said, I want to benchmark myself and my organization. And they didn't do very well. The second year they came on board, they didn't do that very well. But there was always continuous improvement until one time they were the best in their category. So it's a journey.
Previously, you have had small and medium enterprises recognized at COYA. Is that going to happen in this year's award?
Certainly, we'll also be having the SME of the Year award, what we call SMOYA, which also targets the small and medium enterprises that seek to improve their performance. Our perspective is that we do this to encourage the SMEs in terms of their operations so that they can become the blue chip companies of tomorrow. We say Rome was not built in one day. So some of the small little organizations, the SMEs or the MSMEs, if they have the opportunity to grow to become national players, regional players, and eventually international players.
What is the theme for this year's COYA Awards?
The theme is celebrating organizational excellence and resilience amidst the pandemic.
A business owner may be watching, or a manager, and they would like to know how to register for this year's COYA Awards.
Firstly, let me say that the COYA Gala Dinner is going to be held on 19th of November at the Ole Sereni Hotel in Nairobi. We request those who would want to join, because there's still room to join, that please log on onto our website, which is www.kim.ac.ke/COYA/registration. Alternatively, you can get in touch through our Special Projects Manager on telephone 0726 604 686.
As we come to a conclusion, Muriithi, give us a parting shot.
For us, we wish to encourage organizations to come on board and register for this exciting experience in business excellence, and to also make OPI, which is Organizational Performance Index, your organizational measure of excellence to indicate how well your organization has embraced and inculcated good management practices and how it compares with global standards. Finally, there's a huge benefit that you reap by participating in the Company of the Year Awards championed by Kenya Institute of Management. And for the CEOs and managers who are watching us tonight, the question is, do you have what it takes to be a transformative CEO or manager? If you do, please sign up today for this annual Company of the Year Awards and CEO of the Year Awards and Manager of the Year Awards, because you never know, you could actually be the winner. And at the end of the day, even if you don't win, you will have learned and benchmarked yourself against the global best practices and against also captains of the industry in this country. Thank you, and look forward to you participating in the Company of the Year Awards this year, 2021. Thank you.
That's it for this week's edition of Business Redefined. Keep it NTV for much more information regarding the business world. See you next week.